So my vocation story starts with my birth. I was born in Torrington, Wyoming, southeastern Wyoming. I was born and raised by a very devoted Catholic family, large family, 9 siblings. I attended the University of Wyoming, graduated in 2012, and I would say that after my graduation is when my faith life really began to unfold. So I would start with 2 role models, 2 priestly role models that have had a huge impact in my vocation. So the first is Father Austin Vetter, my uncle, and the other is Father Bill Ruel, my pastor at St. Bernard's. So both of them had different impacts on me. So Father Austin, only able to see him in the summer times or at Christmas, at holidays. Very much the kind of priest that would ask what was obvious, ask the obvious questions. So I remember one time I was dating a girl and he asked me, he said, "Why are you trying to save only one soul?" He said, "Why don't you become a priest and save a whole bunch?" And so comments like that really struck a chord in me. Father Bill, on the other hand, so when I moved to Belfield in 2012, he just came in July, and my relationship began to grow with him, not only as my confessor and pastor, but also as my friend. And so I began to see what priests did on a daily basis, and who they were in a very human way. And so Father Bill was great at getting me involved in parish activities. And so he asked me to teach CCD. I began teaching CCD. I became more involved in the Knights of Columbus, pastoral council, all those types of things. And it was just great getting to know Father Bill and seeing the way that he interacted with the parish and with the laity. And like I said, he was just a great guide for me as a man and as my priest and confessor, spiritual director. So I have a story from Father Austin. So I remember, at the end of college when I graduated, I wasn't living the most Christian life by any means. And I remember one 4th of July at our Vetter family reunion, Father Austin had a homily, and he challenged all of us, and he said, "If you really want to experience a change in your life, I challenge you to go to confession once a week for a month." And so I took it to heart. I did it. In the course of that month, everything changed, which is what he was obviously trying to teach us. And I really seen my prayer life and my faith begin to start on fire. I was beginning to realize that I wasn't being fulfilled in some way. That no matter how involved I was in the parish life, or how involved I was in church groups or organizations, that something was still missing. And so it actually happened really fast. I had been talking with Father Bill that I felt like I was at some sort of a spiritual wall, where I felt like I was doing everything that I needed to do as far as with the parish. I was doing an hour of adoration every week. I was praying every day. I was going to Mass multiple times a week. So I began to talk with him about these things. And so finally one week I decided I needed to call Father Waltz because I didn't know where else to go to get that fulfillment. So the seminary was the only place that I knew where I could have the quiet time, the alone time, the personal prayer time, to figure out my calling and what that was. So I went to Father Walt for my first meeting, and in the first meeting, I was telling him that I'm at this spiritual wall, and I told him, I need you to tell me what I need to do next in my spiritual life. And so he looked at me and he said, well, what are you scared of? I thought to myself, I'd never thought of that. I looked at him, I said, nothing, I guess. Not scared of anything. So then he simply asked me, he said, well, then how long is it going to take you? And I said, well, give me 6 months to a year. But I said, I know that that's me talking out of convenience of life. So he said, well, you contact me when you're ready. I went back and I talked to Father Bill. I did some spiritual direction with him. And within 2 weeks, I told Father Bill I have to sign up for the seminary. It had become too strong of a desire to seek what God was calling me for. So I went to Bismarck and filled out the paperwork and was accepted by the bishop, and it's been great ever since.